What's up, Baylor family? This is Colt Barber here with Levi Caraway for Sickem 365. We're here in McLean Stadium after Baylor's final fall scrimmage. We got to hear from Dave Aranda, Sawyer Robertson, Jackie Marshall, Keaton Thomas. Really good information. Obviously, kind of the theme there was a lot to still work on over the next couple of weeks. They shut down from the media, going to game prep, but really good information, I feel like, from this particular media session. And I mean, to hear from those four was really cool because to get all those guys at one session. Obviously, Dave Aranda is kind of sparingly, but what were your biggest takeaways from what Dave Aranda said, and kind of how are you feeling about this season going into these last 2 weeks before the Auburn game?
Yeah, I think from Dave Aranda, he really talked about how much versatility he has, particularly on defense. Seemed like he was really happy with the offense and some of the guys who are stepping up. I think my biggest takeaway was from what Jackie Marshall said, where he was just kind of mentioning how much more confidence that he has just overall going into this season. I feel like last season there was a lot of unknown, just nobody really knew what was going to happen. Aranda was on the hot seat, but now I feel like everybody's kind of solidified. They've added a lot of depth, and I think they know they can be really good. Now it's just kind of about finalizing those last little things, tweaking things, getting things right.
Yeah, I think when we talk to Dave Aranda and you listen to the press conference or the media session, you'll hear it. It's we're still kind of gelling and filling our way out as a team. Like, the pieces are there, and he talked about the versatility. He talked about the receiving room being the best that they've had, and highlighted a few guys, the deepest that they've had. So you get the sense that this team is truly the deepest that he's had at the majority of the positions. And you have a position like safety, which we discussed earlier. It's still who is going to be the playmakers there. He mentioned Devin Bobby making a play today in the scrimmage, Jackie Marshall making the play, but how do you solidify that other starting safety position? Kendrick Simpkins was one that made a play, who was playing the star position, had an interception today. So what happens with that secondary safety group specifically? I feel like you've got a couple of answers there, but we're still going into these last 2 weeks with that being the biggest question mark of the team.
Yeah, I think we have a good idea of who those corners are going to be, whether that's a rotation of Tevin Williams, LeVar Thornton, Calvin Simpson-Hunt, and Caden Jenkins, who we've talked about a lot on Premium. But the safeties are still really a question mark, especially aside from Devin Bobby, and we still don't know much about the health of Carl Williams. But what I will say, there's a lot of confidence just about, and especially in that linebacker room, because they have four starting caliber guys there with Travion Barnes, Phoenix Jackson, Kylan Reed, and Keaton Thomas. And then obviously another dynamic that we've talked about ad nauseum on the site, but from everybody, it just sounds like Matthew Fobbs-White and Amari and Winston and their pass rush abilities are really just going to change the dynamic of the defense and really help that secondary.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning of fall camp, Amari Winston's name has been there, and that's probably, I mean, take away your normal Josh Cameron, Sawyer Robertson, that name has been present in so many conversations. It continued tonight when Dave Aranda mentioned him. We talked to Sawyer Robertson. I think with him, we asked him, everyone asked him about the receiving group and the depth there. Same thing was what we asked with Coach Aranda. He mentioned Lewis Brown as a guy that's just continually making plays. He's fast and explosive and a guy downfield that can make plays. He's one that's emerged during this fall camp, obviously back through the summer, as we don't really know what we have, and he gets on campus, and it seems like he's going to be a good one for him.
Yeah, the way Sawyer and Coach Aranda both talked about it, they just raved about him. I don't want to twist Coach Aranda's words, but I believe he said something along the lines of he might be our best guy, or one of our best guys, if not the best, which is just a huge praise, obviously, with the guys in that room, especially with Josh and Ashton coming back. But yeah, a little kind of under the radar pickup.
So another kind of hot topic, Dawson Pendergrass out for the season. Bryson Washington's the lead back, but who's the number 2 back? Well, it's Caden Knighton right now, and you talk to everybody here in these media sessions, and that's where all the attention goes to. I mean, Keaton Thomas raved about him. Dave Aranda mentioned him as well as a playmaker. It's just, that's where it's going. And it's unfortunate for Dawson, but it seems like there's a lot of high hopes for what Caden can do outside of, you worry about pass protection, things like that, as was discussed in this media session. But I feel like Caden could be one of those guys that you get down about Dawson being out, but then he has a really good year as a freshman. He kind of sets you up for the future if and when Bryson and Dawson are gone.
Yeah, and Keaton Thomas called him a baller, and Omar called him a baller last week too, talking about Caden Knighton. So obviously all those guys are really excited about him. And another, believe Dave said that he had another big run today in the scrimmage and played super well. So now kind of the focus goes to who's going to be that third guy. Is that going to be Michael Turner? Is that going to be Joseph Dodds? Both those guys are coming off injuries. So what are your kind of thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Michael Turner, it sounds like he's going to be okay for the season. We'll have more of that on Sickem 365 Premium. True freshman running back, very highly recruited. Out of high school, dealt with some injuries in high school, but potentially your third backs. You might be relying on 2 young guys to be your second and third backs. We'll have more insider notes on Sigum 365 over the next week, but really about the scrimmage specifically. We'll talk to a lot of contacts, kind of figure out what happened in this scrimmage, but this was the most important one. Next week they will have kind of their walkthrough mock game week to get them ready for the season, and then it's game week. So we're here. I mean, it's happening. It's going to be here before we know it, and in a couple, 10 days or so, we'll be back in Waco with Dave Aranda for his weekly press conference previewing Auburn. So any final thoughts from you as we wrap up fall camp for the most part?
No, just super excited for this season to start. I think this team has the possibility to be really good. Just a lot of depth everywhere. I'm super excited to see the defense, super excited to see the playmakers on offense, and it should be a fun year.
Yeah, hopefully there's a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball, but for Levi Caraway, I'm Colt Barber. For Sigum 365, y'all have a good night.
Join Sigum 365 Premium on a $1 for 1 month trial to read our experts' notes and insights. Know about high school commits, off-season transfers, coaching staff changes, and so much more before the rest. Also, download the Sigum 365 app on your iPhone today to get instant notifications of breaking news, read up on the latest inside info, easily interact with other Baylor fans on our forums, and get alerts for anything published by your favorite staff members.